Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Emily who loved to explore the great outdoors. She was always curious, fearless, and adventurous. She often went on hikes with her friends, but one day, she decided to venture into the forest alone. She was fascinated by the mysteries of nature and wanted to see what lay beyond the trails she had explored before. She didn't tell anyone where she was going and didn't bring any supplies with her. As she walked deeper into the forest, the sun began to set, and Emily realized she was lost. She tried to retrace her steps, but nothing looked familiar. She began to panic as the darkness crept in, and the sounds of the forest grew louder and more sinister. Emily was not afraid of the dark, but she was starting to feel the fear deep in her bones. She remembered the tales of people who went missing in the forest and never returned. Suddenly, she heard a twig snap behind her. She spun around, but there was no one there. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves and sending chills down her spine. She started to run, but tripped and fell. When she looked up, she saw a pair of glowing eyes watching her from the darkness. The eyes were cold, unblinking, and full of hunger. Emily screamed and scrambled to her feet, sprinting in the opposite direction. The glowing eyes followed her, getting closer and closer. She could hear the sound of footsteps pounding the ground, and she knew whatever was chasing her was getting closer. She ran as fast as she could, but the creature was too fast. It was getting closer and closer. Emily stumbled upon a cabin in the middle of the forest. She banged on the door, but there was no answer. Just as she was about to turn away, the door creaked open. She stumbled inside and saw a figure in the corner. It was an old woman with wild hair and glowing eyes. The old woman was dressed in ragged clothing, and her skin was rough and wrinkled. Her eyes were a piercing yellow, and they seemed to glow in the darkness. The old woman cackled and pointed a bony finger at Emily. "You should have never entered these woods," she hissed. "You belong to the forest now." And with that, the old woman vanished into thin air. Emily was trapped in the cabin, unable to leave. The creature that had been chasing her was outside, waiting for her. The old woman reappeared, laughing as she cackled. "I am the forest witch," she said. "I take the lost and make them mine. You will be my servant, my slave, until the end of your days." Emily was horrified. She was trapped in the cabin with the old woman and the creature that had been chasing her. The old woman was a wicked and evil sorceress who kidnapped lost travelers and made them her slaves. She used their life force to sustain her own and to feed the creature that protected her. Emily was never seen or heard from again. Some say she was taken by the forest, never to be seen again. Others say she still roams the forest to this day, lost and alone, a prisoner of the woods forever. But all who enter the forest whisper her name, warning others not to follow in her footsteps. For the forest witch still haunts the woods, waiting for her next victim to cross her path.